So look, congratulations on Ali and Ava, and I should say congratulations on your BIFA award for it as well.
Oh,
It's
thank
a
you.
film that I actually saw at Toronto last year, so it's kind of been in
Oh,
my
you
head
did?
for a while. But
Yeah.
you seem to be in everything at the moment. You're in Save the Cinema and The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne, and you were a voice in Robin, and you were in Everybody's Talking About Jamie. I mean, do you ever stop working?
Yeah, it's just gone from I've gone from job to job at the moment. This past couple of years, past 3 years actually, have been really good, and it's just I'm just so lucky that it's given me sort of a breadth of stuff to do that I can do a bit of comedy here and a bit of drama, and yeah, it feels like I'm really sort of working on all cylinders at the moment and using my comedy chops and using my drama chops and using just working a lot.
I mean, it's a terrific variety of roles, but I suppose with the exception of Ali and Ava, they're all really supporting roles, aren't they? And I was talking to somebody the other day who said that they actually quite like the term supporting role because it felt like they were supporting the main members of the cast. And I wondered if you saw it that way, or if maybe you see yourself as a character actor.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe a bit of both. I sort of feel like the sort of supporting actor sort of can have this really interesting perspective on a film. They're still a part of it. They've earned their right to have their lunch at lunchtime, and they're on the they're on the film, but at the same time they've got this kind of overview of it as well. On Louis Wayne, I was lucky enough to share a scene with Benedict Cumberbatch, and I was just like, that was just amazing. It was just amazing to be sort of. I really love all the stuff that he does and all the things that he's in. So as an admirer of like all his work, I was there watching him do his stuff, but I was actually his colleague as well, acting alongside him. So it gives you a sort of like a really nice. You're in this really lovely middle ground, where you can sort of look at it and appreciate it. And sometimes there's less pressure involved than like being the main sort of thrust of a story, which is kind of nice.
So how did the role of Ali come your way? Had you always wanted to work with Chloe Barnard?
Yeah, always. I loved all her stuff all the way back from the Arbor. And I just I was at a sort of point in my career where I didn't think she would be really sort of willing or up for meeting. I'd done a few bits and bobs, but nothing major. I just asked my agent if she would be interested in sitting down and having a chat. I mean, even if she just wanted to have, a cup of tea or something, that would have just been enough just to sort of be in her orbit a little bit. But, one thing led on to another, and we met in Toronto, and we just had a lovely time just talking about all sorts of stuff. And then we had another meeting after that where she sort of seeded the idea of like this film. And then we sort of gradually moved into, without even realizing it, moved into sort of this sort of mid sort of rehearsal thing that we did in a pub where I was kind of talking as the character, and it all just sort of we found ourselves in a rehearsal room, and then suddenly we're on, filming the thing. But it was all so easy and slow moving and gradual that it's like nothing else I've experienced, really.
Because Ali's based on a real person, isn't he? Did you get to meet him?
I did, yeah, Maui. And it was such an interesting process because with all of Clio's stuff, all the way from the Arbor through to Ali and Ava and, Selfish Giant and everything, she sort of steeps all her stuff in sort of grounded reality. So there's real characters and real people and real stories that are told. And then there's these other elements to the story which are sort of fictionalized, and sort of you move away from sort of this grounded reality. So I got to meet Maui and we had some good chats and everything. And even the transcripts early on when we were discussing the film, I was listening to transcripts of interviews that Clio did with Maui. So I was listening to his voice and things like that. And then this really wonderful thing happened where it kind of took on its own its own momentum and had a life of its own, which was kind of a mixture of it all, really. It was a sort of mixture of Maui, mixture of me, a lot of guidance and from Clio, and I think that comes through in all her work. It's sort of, you can tell that it's steeped in a reality, but there's also this really lovely sort of I don't know, it's hard to articulate, but there's this other element to it that's just uniquely her, really.
So you are now Adeel Akhtar, romantic lead. Was that the sort of role you ever thought you were going to have?
No, not really. I've never really had the opportunity to play many leads, like you said, but a romantic lead, yeah, never really. I mean, I've done Back to Life, which is on TV, a sort of comedy I've done on TV, which is sort of in that territory a little bit, but no, it's the first time, and yeah, who knows if it's going to happen again.
And your on-screen chemistry with Claire Rushbrook obviously is so crucial to the film, but you look so comfortable together, like you've been a couple for years. So I wondered how you developed that. Did you have to do the dreaded chemistry test?
Yeah, we did do a chemistry test, but it sort of felt like, and you'd have to ask Claire about this, but from my experience, the sort of initial meeting is almost like the initial meeting you have with in the chemistry test, and the sort of as we were filming, we sort of discovered our chemistry as we were filming and as we, as the film was going on. So the film itself sort of charted like us getting to know each other. So we had those moments of that sort of, that sort of, when your heart beats a little bit fast, when you're a bit adrenalized, when you're meeting somebody for the first time and you fancy them, had all that. And then that sort of settled itself, embedded itself down. And, those moments in the film where we have a bit of a joke and a giggle, and it sort of charted how a relationship actually works, and that was a really nice experience to go through.
And the other thing about Ali is his taste in music, which is really quite individual. I wondered how yours compared with his.
Well, early on in the conversations I was having with Clio, she asked me what music I liked, and there was Connie Farr, who was involved in like picking up bits of music. So yeah, some of the tracks that Ali listens to are some of the ones that I suggested to Clio, and some other ones that Connie sort of suggested. So yeah, we do, but I love it all. I love what Ava was listening to and what Ali was listening to. That's all good stuff for me.
And what about his dance? Was that something that you actually developed yourself?
What, on top of the car?
Yeah.
I mean, again, it was like, it wasn't something that was in the script, and it was something that was needed as we were filming. So, I mean, again, it's like a sort of Clio's process, and how a film works when she's sort of helming it is, it was something that we did, and maybe I knew I was going to do it a week before we did it. So it was very in the moment, that stuff, so anything you see is probably, just me sort of dancing to a track on top of a car in a field. So that was just like me trying to be in the moment.
What are the chances of seeing you on Strictly then, do you think?
I don't know. I think I'd have to be a bit better. I mean, I'm looking at the people who win. I think I'm going to have to be a bit better and keep more in time than I did on top of that car in Bradford. Yeah, we'll see. But you never say never.
Know. You never know.
You never know, exactly.
So looking forward, because you never stop working, as we've said, I gather you're going to be in Murder Mystery 2 with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Which is very Hollywood compared to Bradford, let's face it.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So what's the situation on that then?
So I just come back from there, and so we're doing some filming in Hawaii. So that was about a week ago that we came back from there. It's just a lot of fun. They're just two really lovely people, and they run a really relaxed and fun set. And yeah, it was just such a pleasure to be back in the loop of that, really.
And again, a completely different style of film for you.
Yeah, it's sort of like just out and out comedy, that sort of a silly comedy. I'm playing a silly character, and they give you the space just to muck around, which is really nice, you know, even though there's loads of money attached to it and there's all these A-list celebrities and everything. You still just have a bit of a laugh with it, which is nice.
That's absolutely great. Adeel, it's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. And like I say, I love the film, and I hope everybody loves it as much as I did.